Honest game trailers: World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King, probably the new expansion from the old expansion, the remastered or rebrought one. So let's go.
From a company that used to be
Chris,
one of the most trusted names in gaming, that now is eating up its own legacy faster than a fat kid with a cake, comes a re-release of the most highly regarded expansions to World of Warcraft, hot off the presses and ready to screw up all your fond memories of playing it 14 years ago.
Literally, Wrath of the Lich King is the only expansion I played when I was in university, and I played it for 2 years, literally. And I don't think anything can spoil that time for me. It will always be here.
Company motto at this point: World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King. Log in to the wilds of frozen Northrend, a new continent they just plopped onto the top of the old world map, where you'll ride around on mammoths, make friends with walrus men, ice giants, 400 dragons, and even uglier murlocs, as you dress up like a Norse hobo with an FF-sized weapon, and wallow in Warcraft 3 nostalgia as you visit all the places where Arthas made bad decisions that led him to becoming the edgiest lord in the land. Then take in the sights with new zones like Icy Plains, Icy Beaches, Icy Mountains, Icy Castles, Troll Place, Blood Spooky, Ungoro Crater 2, and Skyrim, while it slowly dawns on you that you have another 10 levels to grind out that are all like 2 million XP. As you return back to the usual WoW business of killing 15 of a thing and picking up 8 of another, in a shiny new coat of paint slapped on a game design that 90% of players merely tolerate to get to the end game. And if you're lucky enough to be on a big server, you might just get to wait in an 8-hour queue for it. Discover your inner darkness as you roll up WoW's first brand new class since launch, the Death Knight, a spooky paladin with more teenage angst than you can shake a Frostmourne at, who joined up to fight with the Horde in Alliance because they suddenly realized that the evil Lich King might not be such a nice guy, and who use a rune-based ability system that deals a ridiculous level of damage and self-healing that basically makes them warlocks that can tank, which would be absurdly overpowered if they hadn't also broken just about every other class, and who start at level 55, almost ensuring that like half of the people who play them are hot garbage at it, making them the premier class for pulling 4 packs at once in a dungeon, dying instantly, and then getting mad about it. I mean, you gotta give it to him though. Putting Corpse Explosion in WoW was a pretty good idea. Experience the many quality of life improvements Wrath brings to the table, with minor tweaks that eliminate downtime or free up bag space, and larger changes like making the entire game easier than doing a hit in an old folks home, as even healing specs blast through quests and solo elites like they're nothing, and dungeons become speedruns where you'll never even stop to drink, a pace that's only amplified when you get to heroics and realize you can face roll them in your questing greens, that once you're raid geared, they become an actual joke, a difficulty shift which carries on to the initial raids, most of which are just a guy in a room with like 2 mechanics that you can be in and out of in under 20 minutes. With the exception of Nax, which they lifted directly out of the end of Classic and barely changed, meaning you can get most of it done by grabbing a bunch of idiots out of LFG, making the in-game raiding experience much more accessible to the returning WoW player who developed an actual life in the intervening decade, but also made hardcore raiding feel like trying to be hardcore about tic-tac-toe, which still won't stop people from taking a week off work to be world first for something that thousands of people cleared 14 years ago.
Literally.
Because at the end of the day, nothing has changed from then and now. Well, maybe except for the kids you're neglecting to raid. Why are they crying? I already fed them once today. Immerse yourself in the true genius of the new expansion.
The new expansion. Are you kidding me, bro? Like, why would you put yourself through this?
As WoW finally finds a way to reward you for all the dumb completionist stuff they had in there already, like exploring the entire map.
Oh my god, when I did this completion, like I was literally trying to complete all the achievements, never managed to do it. But one of the achievements that I tried first was one of the easiest, where it's just time consuming, but it's easy. You had to explore every inch of every place. And there were like some places, you guys, like you cannot reach. It's so hard to reach. It's between mountains and stuff. And you have to walk and walk and walk. Some places you can't fly. You have to just walk. Oh my God. It took me so many hours. I would just like In the game, just walking, bro. Just walking.
Getting all the pets, or doing everything related to fishing.
Oh yeah,
Making
fishing.
it much easier to justify spending your entire day in the video game than ever before. Because instead of just dicking around, you're now working your way towards a title or a special mount in a system that will get the good brain juices flowing whenever you see a new badge flash up, but that hides a powerful shame when you actually think about the hours you spent to look like an off-brand Dora.
¡Yo soy Dora! La hija, no la mamá!
So reach for those heirloom shoulders and get ready to renew your sub for a look at what is arguably the high point in the long history of WoW. Despite the fact that they made it playable by letting a live salmon thrash around on top of your keyboard. Because at the end of the day, WoW isn't really about the difficulty, it's about the friends you made along the way. Nah, just kidding. It's about how high you can get those parse numbers to go. Always remember, the bigger numbers, the better the person.
Oh my god. And not only that, like literally in raiding, they would always, you have a guild and they would choose the ones with the highest damage and stuff. And it's so frustrating because you're trying to learn the game and you're trying to gear up, but they constantly go with people who are better geared or have better damage. And you can't have a better damage if you don't have a better gear. And how are you going to get a better gear if you're not going to go and fight with better clan members? Like, it was so frustrating. Like once they do it in that day, like you cannot do it again. And I'm like, now I have to do it by myself or whatever. Like, dude, I hate it.
Starring the Bisc-geared warrior that's still 2k DPS below the warlock, the disc priest who bubbles the whole party and then literally falls asleep, the rogue hitting like a down pillow because he doesn't have fan of knives yet, the warlock who has never heard of a thread meter, the holy paladin that can't get over their spec not being terrible anymore, the shaman who spends all day knocking people off ledges and Eye of the Storm. That one guy who's still playing Pharaoh Druid. The mage who dies every pull. The hunter whose pet name might be racist, but...
Oh my god, I was the hunter. Basically, it wasn't even called the hunter, it was called the ranger. And that's where comes my first name, Ra the Ranger. That was my name in World of Warcraft. I was like, Ra is a princess and the ranger is the title, so I'm Ra the Ranger.
You're not sure. The Death
My pet didn't have a sus name. I don't even remember the name of my pet.
Knight that absolutely won't be
But
stopped.
it wasn't sus. It wasn't sus. Zumba. Come on, internet work! Man, I don't
The
understand
Death
what's going
Knight
on every
that
time.
absolutely won't be stopped for any reason.
Because I'm
And
screaming.
Diabetes. Wrath of the High Ping.
Hi,
Did you know Wrath is the most positive depiction of living in the sewers since Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Tell us what you'd like to hear.
Dude, the
in my
sewers
epic
are only
war-
there for the PvP. I almost never played PvP. I was always into PvE because I sucked at PvP and nobody wanted to play with me PvP. Because I was that one girl who doesn't know how to play but wants to play. Yep! I sucked at World of Warcraft, but it was one of my first PC games that I played.